It's an homage this morning. That was my dad. You know, there's this thing about parents. You never seem to fill up the hole in your life when they're gone. I had a guy in my life bigger than life. Today is the 13th anniversary of the death of my father, who went out the way he came in on his own terms. That guy was in charge of his life big time, fully. Yeah. He's missed. He's really missed. I could tell you so many great stories about him. Let me tell you a little bit about him. His name was Leonard Louis Schneider. Born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. Good morning, Open. I'm going to be talking about that day in just a minute. But first, a little bit about my dad. Born in Chicago, raised in Chicago, brought out to California because he was a brilliant engineer/scientist. He was in charge of reliability for Minuteman missile. That means if anything went wrong with Minuteman missiles, they knew who to call. It would be my dad. My dad, Lenny. He was so smart. At one point, by the way, he was a Golden Gloves boxer, and he had to make a choice of whether or not he was going to have a career in boxing or he was going to have a career in science. He could have been an artist. He was a great artist. You want to know the coolest thing about him? He was ambidextrous. Yeah. That means he could use both hands equally as well. And the thing that he did that used to drive us as kids particularly insane was he would take a pen or a pencil in each hand and simultaneously write with both of them and do mirror image, and both sides would be absolutely perfect. He was tough. He was tough. He was pretty good at just about everything, and he expected the people around him to be the same. He was definitely my harshest critic. And also my biggest fan. And when he died, on his headstone, I wrote, "We miss you, Loveable Lenny. You were right." Here's to Loveable Lenny. And in that same vein, he was also Zadie, which means grandpa. And today is National Grandparents' Day. And I am so proud and delighted to tell you that I am a grandma. I have one grandchild, 9 years old, Max. He's my BFF. He will always be my BFF. He's the best. We've been like this since since before he was born. I used to talk to him in my daughter's tummy. True story. Max never met his grandpa, not his great grandpa, but I can tell you they would have butted heads constantly because they're both really bright and they're both very pig-headed. When Max was little, we used to take him to the cemetery because it was beautiful and not far from home. And we used to go visit, and we'd sit down, and there's a tradition where you bring rocks and you set them on the gravestone to just say, "Hey, I was here." Max used to participate with us, and he always referred to the cemetery as Zadie's little grass house. He didn't quite get the idea of what a cemetery was, but he knew we were coming to visit his Zadie. So it was Zadie's little grass house. Yep, that's where we used to go. Yeah. Okay. Reminiscing is awesome. I miss my daddy, and I loved my grandparents. I had like the best grandparents. I had the kind on my mother's side, particularly, of grandparents where you would get into their lap and it would like their bodies would envelop you. It was like that warm and yummy, like that. Yeah. Speaking of grandparents, I don't know if any of you ever did anything like 23andMe, where they check your DNA and look for relatives and stuff like that. I got a message the other day from someone saying she thought she might be my cousin and giving me these, this information about herself, that we had a lot of the same DNA and she was trying to figure out how we were connected. I think she might be actually like a really close cousin. How fun is that? So, oh, I knew what I wanted to do. Forget the cousin thing. Let's go back to grandparents for a minute. I know a lot of you who are watching are grandparents. So I would like you, I normally don't let you post personal things on What Do I Say, What Do I Do? But I would love you to go to What Do I Say, What Do I Do on Facebook and post pictures of your grandchildren. Today's the only day that's allowed. Let's get some grandchild. Let's fill up the airspace with pictures of grandkids. Wouldn't that be fun? Yeah. Okay. Post a picture. Oh, hey, Star Spangled Banner birthday today. So you're going to love this. The Star Spangled Banner was originally a drinking song. Hello. It's also Sunday. I declare it Sunday, Sunday. Could you make sure and get yourselves some ice cream today and some sauce and some nuts and some whipped cream and maybe a cherry on top? I don't know, but Sunday, Sunday. Let's make it Sunday, Sunday. Hey, Marlene says she has no grandchildren yet, and her 14-year-old child better not make her a grandparent. I'm with you. Here's to waiting until it's time. But if you have a grandchild, post the picture. Okay, word for today, tingo. Tingo. The word tingo is from, now wait, this is like really bizarre, because the word tingo is from a language that I had never heard of before. It's from Pascusens. I can't really even pronounce it. It's an Eastern Polynesian language spoken on Rapa Nui, otherwise known as Easter Island. And the word for today is tingo. It is the slow and gradual stealing of your neighbor's tools and other things that you borrow until you eventually have a huge stock of things at your house that you stole from other people. Okay, you borrowed and forgot to return. That would be your tingo. Of course, you don't have a tingo, but I bet your neighbor does, right? And I bet most of that stuff is yours. You can go and ask for it back. So I don't know why that got an image in my mind of Miyagi-Do. Do you know what Miyagi-Do is? Yeah. It's the dojo, the karate dojo from Mr. Miyagi in Karate Kid. And if any of you have watched Cobra Kai on Netflix, we kind of binge watched it. I really enjoyed it. This is not brain testing. This is not scientific. This is just fun. It's the same exact cast from Karate Kid. Well, except Mr. Miyagi, because he's no longer with us. But everybody else is in the cast 30 years later, 20, whatever. How many years later is it? It's a long time, I can tell you that. But I got very upset because we got to the end of season 2 last night. And there's no season 3 yet. Yeah, I want to know what's going to happen next. Cobra Kai on Netflix. So there was this guy. His name was, wait, I have to think of his name. Frederick Bauer. That's it. Frederick Bauer. Probably never heard of him. But Frederick Bauer is the guy who invented the Pringles can. You know, Pringles potato chips? He invented the Pringles can. Okay, so that's kind of, like, oh, there's a piece of useless information I'll never need again. Yeah, except here's the cool part of it. Apparently, when he died, they put his ashes in a Pringles can. Talk about dying for what you invented. I mean, seriously? Talk about making something your life's work. There's got to be some great potato jokes in there, too. A chip off the old block? I don't know. Anyway, the guy who invented the Pringles can got buried in a Pringles can. What can I say? And while we're talking about food items, do you know what M&M stands for? Seriously, M&M, not the singer, the little candy that melts in your mouth, not in your hands. M&M stands for Mars and Murray's, because those were the two guys who started the company. Mars and Murray's, M&M. I'm just so full of trivia today, huh? Yeah. So here's another thought for the day. If you were 20 in the 70s, you are now 70 in the 20s. Whoa. And I wonder if you get to choose which you like better. I don't know. I figure any day I'm alive is the best day so far. Yeah. I think I mentioned that my mother always said that whatever age you were is the perfect age to be. I bought that. I'm still buying it. I'm still crazy happy. And I'm crazy about you guys. We're going to keep it kind of short today. But I do want to go over to how to be happy and grateful, because I think it's time to review. I'm on page 13 to review some handy dandy pandemic stress relievers, because I think we're all getting to the point again where we're getting a little burnt out. And maybe you don't quite have the patience for this pandemic that you had before. Maybe you're not quite as frightened as you were. So your tendency is to not wear your mask all the time, not social distance all the time, not stay home. We need to do this. We need to flatten the curve. It won't be forever. Nothing is forever. But it's going to be longer if we don't nip it in the bud. So, how to get through it? I broke my glasses this morning. I don't know if you can tell, but see right there? Yeah. So if they fall apart while I'm reading, you'll understand. Life and working in particular can be overwhelming without the added pandemic issues. Some of us are stressed because we can't work. Some because we must work. But either way, anxiety is high, and you are not alone. Here's a short, handy-dandy pandemic stress relievers list. Number 1, breathe. No, seriously. Take 3 or 4 slow in through the nose, out through the mouth breaths. Or as I like to tell my mother, take in like you're breathing in the smell of a delicious flower. And out like you're blowing out birthday candles, the way we used to be able to do. Number 2, check in with yourself and take care of your needs first, even if it means excusing yourself from a chore or a call or a meeting. Just do it. Take care of you first. Number 3, eat. Eat. Go to the bathroom. Yeah, that's so important. Don't wait. When you have to go to the bathroom, girls, you especially, because we're so bad about that, right? Go to the bathroom. Stretch. If you can't go exercise, you can always stretch wherever you are. Go get some sunshine, assuming you have some. And if you don't have any, you come visit me, because we have way more than our share. Take a hot soak. Ooh, yeah. Maybe light some candles, have a little sip of wine. Do the whole spa routine right at home. Smile at yourself in the mirror. Seriously. Seriously. Okay, go ahead. That was probably like 6 tips in one, but I'm only counting that as one. Number 4, ask yourself what you would say to the most important person in your life if they were feeling the way you're feeling, and follow that advice. Hint, you are the most important person in your life. So seriously, where would you be without you? Take care of number 1. That's you. Somebody told me don't ever point when I'm doing a video, but you know what? This time I'm going to do it because I mean you. Marlene says, stay home if you're sick. Sick is huge. Relax, recharge, hug you and others. Good advice. Number 5, wiggle your toes. You've heard me say this before. It's impossible to be anywhere but in the present when you wiggle your toes. Wiggling your toes is so grounding. Number 6, go with gratitude and start now. Write down 5 things you are grateful for. 5. I do it every single morning to start my day. I am grateful that I can read this book. I have a safe place to quarantine. There's downtime for thinking and rejuvenating. I'm healthy enough to do my job, to read, to meditate, to play with the kids, to play with the dogs. I'm not stuck at home. I'm safe at home. And remember, you are stronger than the toughest obstacle you've faced so far. How do I know? You're still here. So I think I got myself a new puppy, and I haven't named that puppy yet, but I would love your help. Post a picture of your grandchild, and I will post a picture of my potential puppy that I brought home to see if he gets along with the rest of the fam. And I think so far he does. So I'm looking for a name. I'm remembering Lenny, and I'm loving you. Have yourself the best Sunday ever. Make it a spa day. Make it a day where you let it all hang loose. See you at the beginning of next week. Bye-bye.